We built a den. Did you see Dexter? Was he peeping over the top? Were you peeping? You were peeping. Well, we separated ourselves, didn't we? We had a big wall of boxes. Oh, here they are, big wall. We can build it back up. One big brick. And another big brick. Oh, and we're separated. I don't know whether you've got lots of boxes around your house. We've got loads of boxes. And maybe you could build yourself a den like we built today. That's good fun, wasn't it? Yeah. Nice to see you all back again this week. Have you had a good week, Dexter? Yeah? Have you been busy chasing? You have been chasing. What have you been chasing? I hope you haven't been chasing cats. Oh, I think he might have been chasing cats. Dear me. Well, anyway, shall we do our lesson today for the children? Yeah? Okay. Now then, can you remember the Bible verse that we learnt last week? Do you remember we're talking about God's love? So that's a big clue to the words. So there was just 3 words that you had to remember. Just 3. God is love. That's right. God is love. That was our verse from last week. Now this week, we've got a different verse. And this verse is found in a different book in the New Testament called the book of Romans. And it's Romans chapter 8, verse 38. And it says, nothing can ever separate us from the love of God or from God's love. Nothing can separate us from God's love. Nothing. Nothing at all. Not a giant, not a ninja, not a lion or a tiger or a bear. Not even ourselves can separate us from God's love. That means it never stops. Nothing can ever stop God loving us. Sometimes we can stop loving God, but he will never stop loving us. So I wonder whether you can remember that for next week. So we've got 2 things, haven't we? We've got God. God is love. And then our verse from today is that nothing, anything at all? No, nothing can separate us from God's love. That's a wonderful verse from the Bible. And just think, if you remembered that, you would be remembering 2 parts of the Bible. That is amazing. See if you can do that for next time. Now, I think what we're going to do is we're going to have a song all about God's love. Would you like that, Dexter? Now, this song has got lots of actions in it. So, Dexter, do you want to go down onto the floor so you can do the actions? You do? Okay, right then. Let's put you down. Take your arms off me now. You don't need to cuddle me all the time. There we are. You go down and you do the actions on the floor while I show the boys and girls how we do the actions. Now, this song is all about God's love. And I'll tell you the actions, then we're going to sing it, okay? So, God's love, give yourself a big cuddle, is the best, thumbs up, the best love, another cuddle, that the world has ever known. Can you make a big world shape, a great big world shape like that? It's deeper, so go way down, than the deep sea. And it's a love that only God has shown. Now this bit you get to be really sparky, so you have to do a rocket into space with your finger. You ready? It's higher than a rocket out in space, wider than the total human race. God's love is the best love that the world could ever know. Now then, you might be thinking, grown-ups will be thinking, ooh, that's a lot of words, I don't think I remember it. But this goes to the tune of the Flintstones, so it's quite easy to remember. So are you ready? We'll do it slowly to start with. Okay. God's love is the best love that the world has ever known. Deeper than the deep sea, it's a love that only God has shown. Higher than a rocket out in space, wider than the total human race. God's love is the best love that the world has ever, could ever, will ever know. So should we try again? That wasn't bad, but see if you can keep up with the actions this time. Are you ready? I think even grown-ups should be doing the actions as well as the children. So children, you check out that your grown-ups are doing the actions. Are you ready? God's love is the best love that the world has ever known. Deeper than the deep sea, it's a love that only God has shown. Higher than a rocket out in space, wider than the total human race. God's love is the best love that the world has ever, could ever, will ever know. Well done. Good try with all of those actions. That's wonderful. Now then, do you remember our verse was about separating ourselves from the love of God? Can you remember? Can anything separate us from the love of God? That's right. Nothing. Nothing can separate us from God's love. Nothing at all. And the story from the Bible today is about a boy. Let me get a bit closer so that you can see the pictures. About a boy who left home, and well, you judge for yourself what he did. See if you can gather. This is a story that Jesus told. And here is a picture of Jesus telling the story. This was the story Jesus told them. There was a rich farmer, and he had 2 sons who worked with him on his farm. But one son didn't like working. Can you see this one? This one's out can you see? He's out working with the plough. This one didn't like working much. Didn't much like the farm. I want some money, he said to his dad. Half of your money will be mine one day when you die. But I don't want to wait till then, so I want my share now, said the boy. Do you think that was a very bad thing to do? I think it was. Wasn't very caring for his dad, was it? But the father loved his son, and he gave his son the money. The son took it, and he rode away on his donkey, and the father watched him go. And the father was very, very sad. Do you think he wanted his boy to go away? No. I think his mum looked sad as well. The son went straight to the city. He bought brand new clothes and a big house, and he made lots of new friends, and he gave parties for them all. And he had lots and lots of friends while he was giving parties. Loads of friends. They all wanted to be his friend because he had lots of money. But soon, the son had spent all of his money. He'd wasted it all, and all of his friends left him. That's sad, isn't it? Everything he had, he sold. He had nothing left. And then something even more tragic happened. A big famine hit the land. And he was so hungry, he had to find a job, and he had to find some way of getting something to eat. So can you see what these animals are? Yeah, they're pigs. He found a job looking after pigs. But he was so poor, he didn't just go to work and look after the pigs. He actually lived with the pigs, right next to them. And he was so hungry that he really thought, I'm so hungry, I think I might have to eat what the pigs are eating. Have you ever seen what pigs eat? It's not good. Everything all mixed up together, all mushy. Blah. I wouldn't like to eat that. But he was so hungry, he really thought about eating what the pigs were eating. And then while he was feeding the pigs and thinking how hungry he was, He thought about his father. Do you remember his father? Well, the son said, "My father's servants always have plenty to eat. I must go home and say that I'm sorry." And off he went. It was a long, long way. And he had to walk all the way because remember he had to sell his donkey, he had to sell everything. At last he reached nearly home and he was tired and dirty and dressed in rags. But do you know what the Bible says? Do you know what Jesus said? Jesus said that the Father, he saw out of the window or from the top of his house, he could see his son coming back. And he didn't wait for him to get there. He ran out. He ran straight out to find his son. And look, he opened his arms and he welcomed his son back. He hugged him and kissed him. In fact, the Bible says, Jesus said he covered him with kisses. I don't know whether your mum or dad or whoever looks after you has ever been so happy to see you that they've covered you in kisses. But that's what the father did to this son. Even though he was a bit smelly because he'd been looking after those pigs and living with them. "Father, forgive me," he said, the boy. "I've sinned against you and I've sinned against God. It isn't fair for me to be your son anymore," the boy said. "Just let me be one of your servants." The father took him into the house and the servants got him new clothes, gave him a new ring, and they made a great big feast because the boy, who had been far away from home, doing his own thing, had finally come home. And that is the end of the story. Now in that story, Jesus said, when he was telling people about it, he said, God is like the father in the story. Now you think if that son had been so mean to you, do you think you'd have let him come back and be a son, give him a wash and give him new clothes and just forget the whole thing? But that's exactly what God is like. If we come back to God and say we're sorry for the wrong things we do, he will forgive us because do you know what? He always loves us. Nothing can separate us from God's love. Not even when we are mean and nasty and do wrong things and we maybe even don't love God. God still loves you and he still loves me. Now then, I think we've got some craft ideas now for you to see. It's something that we had in the story. Now, I think I've got one that I've already made. Let me show you. Here it is. I wonder whether you can guess this animal. Oh, there we are. It's a balloon pig. Now then, I've got a pink pig because I happen to have some pink balloons. But you can have any colour pigs you like. Pigs can come in all sorts of colours. I don't think I've ever seen a blue pig, but there's no reason why you can't have a blue pig. So, shall I show you how we make one of these? It's really simple. All we need is a balloon. I have another pink one. So we won't blow it really far. We'll just blow a little bit of air into it. Because we do want a piggy nose. So we have to tie a knot in the balloon. And that should give us, let's see, what do you think? Is that a good piggy nose? A nice round nose like a pig? And then our pig needs some... What are these things on a pig? And they flop over. Their ears. So we've got some bits of paper that I've just cut into triangles. And if we just put a little crease in it like that, and then that gives us something to stick the sellotape to. And here's some tape. And we'll stick one ear on. You don't need to worry about the balloon popping unless you pull them off really fast. There's one ear. Do you think he needs another ear? I think he does. And another ear. And what else does he need? I think he might need some legs. Do you think he might need legs? Otherwise he'll have to shuffle along on his belly and that would be no good. So I've got some strips of card and I've just cut some little triangles out the bottom of the square for the pig's feet. Do you know what you call pig's feet? Do you know what they're called? They're called trotters. I think that's a really funny word. Pig's trotters. So there's one, and this one has been playing in the mud, so he's all black on his toes. Colour those in at the end. You can use a crayon or a felt tip pen, or if you're brave you can get the paints out. But felt tip and crayon work just as well. And you don't have to wait for them to dry. There we go. So we've got his 4 feet. And we'll just do the same. We just fold the edge over so that gives us a little lip to tape on with the sellotape. And let's put our first pig's leg on. Should we have them at the front? Where's his piggy nose? So, one leg. And 2 legs. That's not bad. And then we'll put the other legs on the back. And then there's really only his face to put on. Oh, it might be a girl pig actually. Could be a girl pig or a boy pig. And you can make as many pigs as you like. As many balloons as you've got. And you could look after the pigs like the boy did in the story. One at the back. And another one at the back. And then what else does our pig need? Could do with a face. So let's get a pen. Now to draw on a balloon you probably need a felt tip pen, or if you've got one even better, a Sharpie. And we'll give him a nice big eye on this side. Oh, squeaky, squeaky. Squeak, piggy, squeak. 2 eyes. Let's give him some eyebrows. And I think we'll give him a big smiley face. There we are. There's I've got 2 little pigs to look after. Oh, I think there's a story about 3 little pigs, isn't there? Maybe you could do that. So there's our little pig, and here's his friend. 2 little pigs. And if you made 3, you could even tell the 3 little pigs story, couldn't you? So that's our craft idea for today. And then there is also a game you can play where you can use paper plates or cut circles of cardboard, and you can look in the mirror and pull funny faces, like pull an angry face, or pull a happy face, or a surprise face, and have a look at what that looks like, and then draw it on the paper plate. And then you've got lots of different emotion faces that you can play, and you can use them in the story. Maybe even tell the same story of the prodigal son, the son who went away to the city. So those are our activities for today. Now then, I think we've got one more song and then a story. And the song that we're going to sing is Jesus' Love is Very Wonderful. Are you ready? Jesus' love is very wonderful. Jesus' love is very wonderful. Jesus' love is very wonderful. Oh, wonderful love. His love is so high. You can't get over it, so low. You can't get under it, so wide. You can't get out of it. Oh, wonderful love. Well done. Right, so we've got one more story to tell, and Dexter's decided to climb back up on my knee, haven't you, Dexter? So we're going to read this story. Now, this isn't in the Bible, this story. This is a made-up story by somebody called Debbie Gliory, but I love this story because it does tell us a little bit about how God would love us no matter what. So here's our story. Small was feeling grim and dark. Don't be frightened. Playing toss and fling and squash, yell and scream and bang and crash, break and snap and bash and batter. Good grief, said Large. What is the matter? Can you see? Can you see where Small is? He's got a bucket on his head. I think that's funny. I think he's in a bad mood. Small said, I'm a grim and grumpy little Small and nobody loves me at all. Oh, Small, said Large, grumpy or not, I'll always love you no matter what. Small said, if I was a grizzly bear, would you still love me? Would you still care? Of course, said Large, bear or not, I'll always love you no matter what. Oh, don't be frightened now. Oh, Small said, but if I turned into a bug, would you still love me and give me a hug? Oh, I don't know. Would you hug a bug? You're not sure. You probably eat the bug. Yeah, probably. Of course, said Large, bug or not, I'll always love you, no matter what. No matter what, said Small and smiled. What if I was a crocodile? I think Dexter's scared of crocodiles. Large said, I'd hug you close and tight and tuck you up in bed each night. Does love wear out, said Small. Does it break or bend? Can you fix it, stick it? Does it mend? Oh, help, said Large. I'm not that clever. I just know I'll love you forever. Small said, but in the deep of the night will your love keep, when the shadows surround us and you're fast asleep? I wonder whether your mummies and daddies fall asleep when they're reading you stories. Large held Small snug, and they looked out at the night. You see, looking out the window. At the moon in the dark and the stars shining bright. Small, look at those stars, how they shine so high, steadfast and strong in the dark night sky. They're lights to remind you, no matter how far, I'll always love you wherever you are. Oh, you love a good story, you, Dexter, don't you? And that's the end of the story. So Small thought that if he was grumpy and mean, do you remember the prodigal son, the boy that went away to the city in our story before? Yeah, he was mean, wasn't he? He was very mean. But did his dad stop loving him? No, and that's like God. Even though we turn our backs on God, and sometimes we're mean and do horrible things, God still loves us no matter what. So have another lovely week, whatever you're doing, whether you're at school or whether you're at home. Enjoy yourself and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.